Welcome to History with Master Squishies. Today's video will be covering the history of the T-60, we'll be going over who made it, the design, what nations used it, some of the battles it took place in, and how it performs in-game. To start off, the T-60 was designed by Nicholas Astrov and his team for the USSR as a stopgap measure to restock the heavy losses of tanks during the war. It was produced at Factory 37, the Gaz factories, Factory 38, Leningrad Kirov, and Factory 264 outside of Stalingrad. The T-60 was designed in 1938 to replace the T-26, the T-40, T-50, and the failed T-46 project, but it wasn't produced until 1941. The T-60 was designed as a light scout tank from its predecessor, the T-40. They retained the chassis, suspension, and engine of the T-40, but redesigned the hull with an improved silhouette and increased armor. A distinctive 8-sided conical turret was also designed, as it was much cheaper to make than the T-40's original turret. They also removed its amphibious abilities. On top of this, it was also the only Soviet tank, besides the MS-1, not to receive a radio station. The T-60 was originally supposed to have a 12.7mm machine gun, but the People's Commissar for Tank Industry, specifically Vyacheslav Malesev, suggested to uparm the gun to an automatic 20mm DNSH cannon, which was the tank variant of the aircraft SHVAK cannon. This created multiple issues with the cannon jamming and other mechanical issues due to the dust. On top of the cannon having issues, it could only penetrate 15mm of perpendicular armor at 500 meters. This proved inadequate against the newer up-armored German tank designs, which forced the T-60 to be regulated to an infantry support role. As a result of its poor armor, substandard armament, and sluggish performance, it was more dangerous to its crew than anyone else. It was so dangerous, in fact, that it was given the title A Brother's Grave for Two. In 1942, the T-60 was to be rearmed with a 37mm ZIS-19 cannon, but due to a shortage of Soviet 37mm ammunition, it was abandoned. Instead, it got an upgrade to its armor, making it 35mm. In the summer of 1942, a new turret was designed and tested with a 45mm tank gun, which led to the creation of the T-70. The T-60 was equipped with a single turret, an automatic 20mm TNSH cannon, a 7.62 by 54mm R coax TD machine gun. It had a minimum of 20mm of armor until 1942, when it was given 35mm of armor and a minimum of 10mm of armor. It had a crew of 2, a weight of 5.8 tons, a length of 4.10 meters or 13.5 feet, a width of 2.30 meters or 7.6 feet, and a height of 1.75 meters or 5.8 feet. The T-60 also had an on-road speed of 28 miles per hour and an off-road speed of 14 miles per hour. There was around 5,500 upwards of 6,200 T-60s made. Next, we'll move on to its operational history. The T-60 was used primarily by the Soviet Union, but there were captured variants in Germany and Romania. It was widely used against the Germans during Operation Barbarossa, the defense of Moscow, and the Battle of Stalingrad. Other than those general battles, there's not much more that I can find specifically. With that being said, I would like to quote Commander Mikhail Katukov of the 1st Tank Corps for the USSR in early 1942, who said, and I quote, "In this fateful hour, when the Germans had almost defeated us, those ridiculous tanks saved our positions. It was lucky that the rye in the area was almost a meter high, as the T-60s were hidden by it. Using the rye field, both of our T-60 tanks were able to infiltrate the rear of the German infantry and open fire on them. After several minutes of intense fire, the German attack was halted." End quote. The T-60 wasn't a good tank, but it was better than nothing, and they had the numbers to cause change within the war, and it also allowed for the development of better tanks in the future. Finally, we'll move on to how it performs in War Thunder, how it performed realistically. In-game, the T-60 stats line up pretty well. The armor is right for the 1942 variant, but not the 1938 variant. For the 1942 variant within game, the T-60 has a maximum of 35mm of armor and a minimum of 10mm of armor. The speed is 26 miles per hour in-game, which is too short of its real performance for on-road speeds, but it's way faster on its off-road speed in-game than it was in real life when it was only 14 miles per hour off-road. The weight is 8.5 tons, which is the same as real life. The main gun is correct with it being an automatic 20mm TN-SH cannon, and the machine gun is also correct with it being a 7.62 by 54mm R coax TD machine gun. Unfortunately, I can't find anything on ammo types and what it would have used, so I can't speak if that's right or not. All in all, the T-60 is pretty well done in-game, and I understand the T-60 having that better off-road speed in the game, since it's given such light armor and light weaponry. With all that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, squish that like button, subscribe, and leave me a comment on what you want to hear about next. I'll see you in the next one.